Right, so hopefully you get a notification for this. Hopefully it goes live. So I thought this might be a really interesting stream to talk about, all the corona guideline type things, because I don't know if you've seen this for the people who aren't in the UK, but we've had like quite a senior politician sort of person. Well, they're not actually elected, are they, Dominic Cummings? But they've basically might be forced to resign. I'll just open BBC News and see if there's any more on it. So they're doubling down, saying he did the right thing by making the journey. So they're doing the sort of rules for us, rules for you type thing. Hello, Alex, you all right? Good morning. I still need to open this and start watching all through it, because I've not seen all of Hello before. I've seen like a lot of random episodes, and I think I've seen all of series 1 and 2. All right, Richard, glad you're on. Hello, Red Fox. Hello, 11HHH30. Hello, Blue Chimps. You didn't scare me when you said boo. So I've got some neodymium magnets here just because I thought they'd be fun to play with. I know you ought to be careful if they're that close to a PC, but I wanted to use them in some videos regarding, what's the word for it? Radiation stuff. So I assume they've got some sort of spacer in here. So let's see. Yeah, it's really hard to get. I don't want to trap my hand in this. Well, what I'm on about with the rules, Johnny, is I'll flick this light off actually because it looks like I'm going to be interrogated. Was all the stuff where politicians are doing the things where the rules don't seem to apply to them. So if you've not seen, as I was saying, in the UK, there's sort of a political aid of Boris Johnson. Oh yeah, that is strong, that neodymium, because it's doing that from there. Look. Yeah, great, good fun, neodymiums. But anyway, let's put the others on that sword. There we go. That's interesting, White Wolf. I had a social distancing walk today. Not as far as I'm aware, Benji lad. But yeah, anyway, so so basically what we've got in the UK is that one of the top sort of people in government essentially is breaking the rules and then defending that they've broken the rules. But you and I are not allowed to break those rules, and obviously those rules are there for a reason. So we're having all this economic damage happening because of all the lockdown stuff. But then apparently a lot of these rules don't apply to politicians, it seems. Cool, Arthur. What, a Mark 1 or Mark 2? Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, White Wolf. Unfortunately, you wouldn't want that to ever be the case, would you? But I'm saying it really doesn't surprise me when stuff like that happens. But yeah, so hopefully you're all right. Like I said, it was nice today because I had a social distance walk with one of my friends, Bart, who I've not actually seen in person since sometime in March. So that was nice. But, it was just where because you can do that under the rules that I'm following, even if people in government don't, where it's, you can walk, can't you, with somebody if you're, how did they say it? It's like one person not from your household, as long as, obviously, if they're magnetic, but they're not, as long as they're, it's like 6 feet away, or isn't it 2 meters? So that was basically what we did, just walked along some of the sort of footpath type places near us. But, all right, Hype. Yeah, that's the problem, White Wolf, is if you get a second wave. But yeah, so I mean, I think that's the third sort of high-ranking person in the UK now that's been breaking the rules sort of at a government level. Because, they first had the Scottish, was it Health Secretary or something like that? Or Health Advisor? She decided to keep going to, like, different homes, even though she was told not to with her family. Then they had, like, one of the other advisory people on, like, the science thing who was having an affair with some woman, so he was fucking her, which obviously isn't social distancing, is it? And she was married as well. And then, we've had Dominic Cummings saying basically, I'll just drive wherever I want, to go see my parents, even if they're elderly, and it would kill them if I gave them corona. I've already said no, Benji lad. Not as far as I'm aware, anyway. You might be able to get replacement lenses, but that's a different thing. I bet he stopped for petrol, bet he stopped for coffee and all that sort of thing, toilet breaks. Yeah, I think Cummings should be sacked, but it seems like they're just going to go, oh, no, he can get away with it because he's like, probably the person who secretly runs Boris, isn't he? Yeah, exactly. Because here's the thing, Fangstono. I think anybody that's doing like government policy on it has to stick to the rules really strictly because they're setting an example. But yeah, it's just because this is the stupid thing, isn't it? If you think how many people, due to social distancing and all this, are going to be made redundant, or have already lost their jobs and everything, and you can say that might be a price worth paying and all that for containing the virus, but then it's just the idea that the people at the top break the rules anyway. I mean, I don't know why it's yeah. Crazed, mostly just this room. There is other gear in other places, but it's a lot more organized. This is just a room where lots of stuff piles up. You're probably thinking west to east coast, aren't you, Ghost Jesus? The thing is, if you went from the south of the UK all the way up to like the north of England or Scotland, that's quite far. Well, that sounds very interesting, Hype. Is that actually in a night vision unit, or is it just the tubes themselves? Yeah, that's sort of interesting, although when I'm searching it, it's already wanting to, like, I found one thing that looks like it's the right thing. 1NH 105 AAA001. It looks quite similar, this one, to the one we did for laser. I'm not sure if it is exactly the same or not, but... Although I'll PM you on Discord once the stream's over, Hype, because I need to tell you something, but I won't do it on stream. Not needed to, White Wolf. I've kept them with me in the car, but I've just not needed to use them. Don't blame you, Infinity. Is your tinfoil hat not covering your hair anymore? Yeah, I'm alright, Chris. Like I said, I had a really nice morning today, because although I got drenched and it was really windy and wet for a bit, I went on a social distancing walk with a friend, which was nice, because I haven't really seen anybody outside of my household for, ignoring people down your road who you end up seeing and all that. But yeah, I've not seen, any like my mates or anything for like 3 months now. So it was nice being able to, actually, go out for just a quick walk with a friend. Oh, look, I was thinking that's quite funny. The neodymiums are actually strong enough to start. Not quite strong enough, but what if I pull it slowly? No, it's not going to. I don't know. I just like neodymium magnets because of how strong they are for the size. Yeah, it was nice. But yeah, it was nice, Gretchen. Yeah, I think that was the one I looked at because it just looks like a much more compact version, doesn't it? Which doesn't need a giant battery pack and anything. Mostly eBay, Wolfie. That's cool, Crazed. Person spamming the chat will get rid of because he's not contributing anything. I like the idea of it, Fangston. I've never done it. I mean, I'd be quite dismayed though if I found like some old antique gun and then you have to hand it in to be destroyed. That's the problem with magnet fishing, I imagine. Is it's quite an interesting thing in theory, but what sort of gun are you building, Infinity? Was it one of those paintball style ones? I wish I could show you the Schmitz Rubin on stream, but I'm not allowed to because YouTube rules. Cheers, Smelly Neek. As said, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just doing less. I'm going back to doing Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday videos at 5 p.m. UK time, and then sort of streams I might do on off days or just when I feel like doing them. Yeah, all right, Peter. I'm still kind of amused by this, that you know that the neodymium actually can move that. Let's see if I get the other lot that I put on the sword. I don't know if they get more pull if there's more together. I'm not sure. Where's that? Ah, yeah, there we go. I'm kind of a bit worried about trying to hold them this way around with the... Oh, no, it doesn't actually close it, does it? Oh, I nearly had my finger in that. That was close. But yeah, I do know that neodymiums are quite dangerous if... Yeah, I checked the butt plate of the Reuben. Nothing in there, I'm afraid. Just, you know, the wood carved to the shape of where the butt plate goes on. Yeah, the neodymiums, they're actually quite cheap to buy now, because neodymiums are one of those magnets years ago where it was like £20 for a little coin-sized one, and now you can get this for like £10. So, yeah, they came in this box. But yeah, they sold them on eBay, and this was like one of the biggest sizes you could buy neodymiums. There's a canal not far from me, so yeah, but obviously I think mostly you just get crap in the canal. Maybe find a load of the old canal lock, you know, like Allen key type things. Yes, and if your hand is between each one hype, so say you had a load of neodymiums in one hand and you had like your hand like that, yeah, wouldn't be good. There's actually a video on YouTube where they demonstrate using like you know, a fake person, like made of meat. What would happen if you dropped neodymiums from a distance and let them accelerate into each other with a person in the way? Not pretty. Fangsterno says, I found a 6-foot odd metal pole paddle shovel thing. I found the river that has an old iron foundry that in 1900 spec the paddle was from the time that we're doing research for stolen. That's a shame, but that's interesting though. But yeah, neodymiums are like crazy strong magnets, you know. It's weird holding neodymiums because of how much force they put out. Yeah, that would be quite a long road, though, wouldn't it, Ghost Jesus? It'd be very interesting, but I imagine you'd get pretty bored by the sight after a while. Oh, it's more ocean, more ocean. Also, what would happen if it randomly broke? Well, I mean, people would obviously drown, but still. No, you can't have that sign that's behind me, I'm afraid. But, yeah, the main reason I got some neodymium is because I want to show them in a video when I do the Crux Tube video, you know, showing you, like, Rontgen's experiment. All right, how it works, Crazed, I'll explain. The typical knives people can carry on them easily are things like Swiss Army knives, because Swiss Army knives have a blade that's under 3 inches and doesn't lock. That means you don't need an excuse to carry it on you. It doesn't mean it's always a good idea to necessarily have it on you in certain places. Like you wouldn't want to go into a courthouse or like a police station with probably a Swiss Army in your pocket. But the point is, because it's 3 inches, you know, less than 3 inch blade, and it doesn't lock, that means it doesn't fit that criteria. Good morning, Ron. Try pressing F5, White Wolf, you know, refreshing the stream. So that's that bit, if that makes sense. Now, there's different knives you're allowed to have either in your own home and, you know, not take them out. I'm just going to get rid of most of these spacers out, the neodymiums, actually. But I just, you know, I'm being careful doing that because that's, you know, I don't want to crush my hand. Ooh. I certainly couldn't open the neodymiums with one hand. Yeah, but I'm going to take all these spacers out anyway. But yeah, what was I going to say? When it gets more complicated is with bigger knives, because basically, if you... Morning Danish pressure or afternoon, yeah. Yeah, so basically, how it works, and this is really hard to separate. There we go. Right, let's have all these together now. There we go. All right, I've got a block of neodymiums, which is what I wanted. That's going to be quite a strong pull on this. Yeah. You can lift the sword by the neodymium magnets on it with the scabbard as well. No, I don't have a Victorinox Satria. But anyway, the point I was making before I got distracted by the neodymiums is, right, well, let's talk about knives. Right. So it'd have to be a very special pen, Perfect Society. But before I get distracted, so with knives, with the UK stuff, if a knife is over 3 inches or, you know, it locks or whatever, you have to have a reason for carrying it. So what that means is basically, let's say you're outside in the woods doing bushcraft stuff, you could probably have a Bowie type knife on you absolutely fine. It wouldn't be a problem. You know, when I'm volunteering, I quite often have this knife on me, which is over 3 inches and it's a lock knife. Couldn't legally normally carry that around with me. Can if I'm, you know, I have a legit reason for having it. So that's how our laws work. So a lot of it is down to interpretation. No, I didn't, Richard. That sounds horrible. How did that work? Did they all like pull at different, well, not pull, I guess pull into each other or repel from each other, and then just, yeah, ooch. But yeah, so let's try it with the Warhammer mic made. So yeah, I can grip this onto there through the handle, but obviously it's going to be most impressive on the handle or head. I want to be quite careful with this because I don't want that to suddenly drop and hit the floor. But yeah, if you see that, yeah, quite impressive magnets, these. Ooh. That's where it will never want to come off now. Yeah, be very careful, neodymiums. Do not put them flat on a surface. That's when they can be really hard to remove if you've got really strong neodymiums and you put them on a really flat surface so that you can't like pull them on the side of. No, Gretchen, in the UK, you are literally not allowed to say you can own something like that for protection. So, you know, if you said, I'm carrying this knife in case somebody attacked me and it's self-defense protection, that is not a good reason to have it. Yeah, I know, you don't want to, that's mostly what the stream was meant to be talking about, shit on fire, Dominic Cummings, and I got very distracted. But, yeah, we'll go back to Dominic Cummings in a minute. But yeah, neodymiums, I've only had old neodymiums shatter if I've sort of made them hit into each other at speed. If you just let them slap onto things, they never seem to, you know, shatter. Yeah, I just find the idea funny mostly that you can get them with the Swiss Army knife. Notice I keep being careful not to, yeah, because you can, that's I quite like, you can get the, yeah, like I was sort of saying, it's gripping the wrong bit now. But yeah. Yeah, see, that's the thing, Noah, is when a lot of people go on about, you know, how Britain sucks compared to America for a lot of freedoms, I think people forget that certain state laws in America can be restrictive in some ways. Thank you very much, White Wolf. He said, thanks for making the Russian riot helmet video. No problem, I thought you'd like it when I made it. Yeah, exactly. Magnets are really interesting, like radiation, I guess, because there's a force you can't see. Also, gyroscopes are interesting for like that kind of reason. But anyway, yeah, what I was going to say was Dominic Cummings. So for people that don't know, one of the government's like main advisors broke all the lockdown rules, you know, and it's now causing all this rage of why is everybody having to follow lockdown rules where government people aren't following them, sort of thing. Oh, this would be really good for magnetizing a screwdriver. Saying that. Can't they actually do that, Arnold? I've never actually been stopped by the police and ever asked for ID, though, so, you know, it's never... I imagine so, shed on fire, but I don't want to try it with my, you know, night vision, just for the reason I don't want to damage it. But yes, I think the answer would be definitely they would. But yeah, magnet fishing does look fun. Like I was saying, people kept bringing it up. Yeah, I think that's the main complaint hype, isn't it, with America? And we are getting quite political now. It's just the idea that, yeah, the idea that you can literally be screwed out of healthcare seems horrible to me. That would apply to everybody in the UK, Gretchen, because there's no laws here that are like racially done. I mean, in theory, they're not meant to be in America, are they? But I know that never works out as true. But yeah, exactly. That was, I think, the point hype was making with healthcare. That, you know, because the problem I've had when I looked into it is like, because I have ulcerative colitis. In the UK, I get ulcerative colitis medication and all that just on prescription. I pay an annual prescription fee, but that's just because it's cheaper than, you know, paying for the scripts every time. And then, yeah, the point was, if you have that as like an underlying health condition, and then you're trying to get insurance in somewhere like America, that is going to put your excess up massively if people will even insure you. Not even scrap rocks. Must have been a very clean canal or like riverbed if there was not even bolts and screws at the bottom. Yeah, the thing is, Chris, I think people forget that, don't they? That you know, it isn't like what people think. Again, like the firearms laws are very restrictive compared to America's, but they're, you know, they are what they are. But anyway, we are mostly meant to be talking about Dominic Cummings and sort of, you know, what sort of example it sets when people at the top of government break the rules. But I guess most people just want to talk about random stuff, which is fine by me. I was also interested, but I don't want to damage anything. You can breathe with an expired filter gel. It won't give you vapor protection, but it will protect you from particulates. But be careful what's in some expired filters. But yeah, luckily I don't have any fillings, because I imagine that would maybe mess with those if they were magnetic. Yeah. Sadly, he's not a porn star. Or, well, that might be for the best, but you know. Yeah, well, you're just doing it out of interest, aren't you, Infinity? Don't ever incriminate yourself in saying anything, you know, illegal. Because as you probably know, there'll be people on here that will rat you out to the police because they got nothing better to do. I reckon Perfect Society, there will be a second wave, although I think it might even be at the stage where some governments just literally say, look, the economy's doomed enough as it is. You know, we're just, everybody's going to have to carry on going to work. Because the thing is, there's going to be a lot of people who won't have jobs to go back to. What's Grimberg then, Infinity? Sounds interesting. Some things Alpha have been coming in at all right speed, other things haven't. I think it just depends on how many flights are coming from wherever, you know, because they can't even put them in the cargo hold very efficiently at the moment, can they? That sounds really interesting, though, Infinity. White Wolf says he thinks he's getting his right helmet this Monday. I have a Gladius and I have a riot shield. I just need a stab-proof vest and be like a modern Legionnaire. Well, the thing is, all that stuff will practically protect you. I don't know why I'm the right person to ask about why would governments do certain logic like this or that, because I don't think they know themselves, in all honesty, for all the people asking that. That's interesting, Arnold. I didn't actually realise we were a bit more liberal in that regard. Yeah, but it'd probably be like Trump, won't it, Chris? Where it was you had Trump saying like, "Oh, I'm not going to wear a mask in the mask factory," or whatever it was, you know, or whatever factory he was at. You know, I don't want to give the press the satisfaction of seeing me with a mask. Non-important creature. They're considered a Section 5 firearm here, which means unless you're a policeman or somebody like that, you can't have them, basically, and you'll get in a lot of trouble if you have one. Yeah, I've played nearly all the Resident Evil games, White Wolf. Weirdly, earlier before I was doing the stream, I was watching some people playing some very obscure Resident Evil mods for, like, the really old PC releases of Resident Evil 1 and 2. And I mean, you know, like the 1990 Resident Evils. Do I have what recorded, Gretchen? Sorry, are you talking to something else? Is that the helmet shed on fire, or is it something else? I don't think I've done YouTube videos on any. Actually, I think I streamed quite a bit of Resident Evil 2, the remake of Resident Evil 2 on the thing that you can go back and watch. But yeah, in regards to old Resident Evil games, no. But it's kind of weird. In some ways, I get a bit more nostalgic for the ones with the tank controls now, even though when, you know, the Re-2 and all that was new, I was like, oh, isn't this amazing? It plays like Resident Evil 4. And I'm like, oh, I like the old tank controls. Oh, I'm miserable. Which camo pattern, Riley? Ah, that's interesting, Rich. If you find out what brands, that would be really interesting, wouldn't it? To see how much cheaper you can get it at. I might do that at some point, Hype. Yeah, I think the thing is, Sean, sometimes there's rights, but they sometimes don't feel right to do those rights. Like I was saying, when the police came over to see me, you know, it was at a stage where I could literally just say nothing to them, close the door, and they'd have to go away and then come back with, you know, more stuff if they wanted to do anything. But because, you know, I had nothing to hide, I was literally like, look, you can see it if you want to, I'll cooperate. And then I think they very quickly realised that, you know, their time was being wasted. I was just watching, this is quite funny. I don't know if I can show it quite easily now, but I just thought, am I fucking up my watch doing this? That's an interesting point. But yeah, is my watch still? My watch is still ticking fine, that's good. Does it fuck the watch up if I get this too close? Yeah, it stops the watch hand ticking. It starts up again. I have got a watch demagnetizer somewhere, probably in one of the drawers. I don't actually know, Chris. It depends if I guess it burns any of it. Yeah, I played Resident Evil 3 Remake. I didn't hate it at all, actually, even though a lot of people really didn't like it. The thing is, I think the Resident Evil 2 Remake had a lot more content in it for, you know, like value for money. But Resident Evil 3 Remake, I still enjoyed it. Bob Xenos says, you more attractive than those magnets. Thank you, I guess, but I find the magnets interesting. But I suppose, is that like a corny cat chat-up line? Baby, you're more attractive than a magnet. And then NTO says, you are a handsome chap. Okay, thank you. But shall we all talk about some actual subject? Yeah, that would be nice hype, wouldn't it? But the thing is, I think, all honesty, a lot of this would be best not to just talk about it with a lot of that stuff, because I'm sure the more, in some ways, it's feeding the trolls, isn't it? The more people talk about it. But I know a lot of people want to hear what's going on with it anyway. But yeah, I've got a wristwatch thing. That's, yeah, you can also use it on screwdrivers and that if you want to demagnetize screwdrivers. Cool, radio driver. Look, I've got that right here. I wonder what happens if I'll risk it if I put a magnet close to the bereg. Does that do anything? I don't think it does anything. Other than the fact, obviously, it wants to sort of stick to the GM tube underneath, but the case is too slidey. Oh, is that making it chirp a bit faster then? won't keep doing that because I can hear something creaking inside where the magnets are pulling it. Well, I think also the problem is, at what point do you just have to accept some of it's going to happen anyway? I'll have a think that weapons do, Jim. I mean, I'm more likely to just do it as a general creepy thing that... Yeah, no problem, Hope. I don't know. I think if you put a magnet in a degausser, it probably just won't do much. It'll probably repel it or whatever. If I specify what's in Minecraft, sorry, Ghost Jesus. But yeah, like I said, at the moment I've not got much on just because, you know, general stuff. Probably a lot just in vape. The weirdest thing was hearing on the radio like random people just defending government ministers breaking lockdown because it's all right if they do it. You know, I don't, you know, get that. Well, you know, I don't get that. But, you know, I'm just sort of thinking of things to talk about at the moment, but I wonder if it's strong enough to lift up this mace. Yep. Quite comfortably does that. I will grab it. The therapy's there, but I've not got batteries in it. It's on the desk. But yeah, don't forget to like the stream. Yeah, but I think he should get in shit though for it, shouldn't he though, Oliver? Because the problem is that I don't think it's acceptable for people at the top of government to be able to break the rules and then say, oh, it's all right because, you know, when they're the people that are meant to be setting an example. Yeah, I'm still waiting on stuff to be delivered. I'm still waiting on my really interesting ion chamber, Rich. Oh yeah, there's a lot of factors that can vary in R0, can't no, but you know. Well, basically, Marty, that's how they look at it. Mind my foot. What's going on with my foot? Or are you talking to somebody else, Guerrero? Some sort of carbon steel that rusts very easily, which is the annoying thing with this mace, because it gets rust on the inside quite easily. Well, I've always wondered with the magnet, could you get some of the rust out that way? Like, you know, essentially drag the rust through it using a magnet. Like, sound like a silly concept, but yeah, exactly, Dwarven Miner, I'd agree with you there. I know there's some swords that have like religious and ceremonial use 11HHH30, which are immune to that. But yeah, I'm not actually sure how a lot of that would work. Yeah, I know Fighting Welsh because like we were talking about that earlier. But I luckily do have a watch demagnetizer that I bought due to you know, random things making my watch magnetic and fucking them up, and compasses. Ah, that sounds very interesting, White Wolf. Oh, yeah, I think the biggest example of that, Fangsterno, is like where big companies get away with not paying lots of taxes. You know, that they legit have to pay, but people like us, if we didn't pay our tax, would be completely screwed over. Oh, here's an interesting thing. Look. So, look at that. Sorry, neodymiums are fascinating. But yeah, the fact that it redistributes the weight of the mace like that, look, and then goes like that. Right, truth, love, and honor. Yeah, it's because obviously the neodymiums are there, so therefore they drag down the... Yeah, it's good, Keaton. So let me see if I've got some batteries handy. The issue is with my Therapy. Oh, that was a loud click. I'll just leave them there for now so they don't damage anything. The issue is with the Therapy, as you probably heard, is I managed to get some crap inside it. Oh, there's 2 rechargeable batteries right there. What, drop the mace on my foot? Or drop the mace on the Therapy? I was more worried about the magnet ruining the Therapy, actually. Let me just get these batteries unpacked, and then if they've got any charge in them, we'll turn the Therapy on. But I have to immediately turn the alarm off, because what it will do is it will set the alarm to its like normal set-off point of like 0.3 microsieverts, or whatever it is. And then what will happen is, because there's contamination inside the Therapy, background combined with the contamination will immediately set the alarm off. Right, completely theoretically hype, so maybe in Minecraft, like you're saying, I think with UK law, there's lots of weird stuff like that, because I know there's hobbyists that make those really strong pneumatic, like, spud guns, you know, the ones that shoot potato using compressed air. And I think with that, it's one of those things where they might technically be doing something illegal, but a lot of the time the police, if they're doing it on their own land and they're not hurting anybody, don't seem to care that much. So it is one of those weird things. I guess it would be a case of you'd have to see if somebody got prosecuted for it as a test case. I can see how you mean that, White Wolf. You could probably put it in some paint stripper, Keaton, and try and get as much of the rust off as possible and then oil it. Because you don't normally have mass swordsman attacks Ben Blogs and Gaming. I think that's YouTube's logic. Right, see you, Shut on Fire. Oh yeah, Big Clive's been doing a load of videos, hasn't he, on fake germicidal lamps. This stuff is really annoying, because I don't want to penetrate the batteries. But there we go. I absolutely hate when batteries are wrapped up like this, especially the not very good batteries that end up getting crushed as you actually try and take them out. Yeah, Fiestaware is fascinating. I've got that Fiestaware dish over there, and it's good fun. The Fiestaware actually raises the room's background radiation quite a lot. Yeah, on average now, the background radiation in this room sometimes is between 0.3 and 0.4 microsieverts. When the Fiestaware bowl isn't in the room on the piano, it's actually much lower than that. It's just Fiestaware is just stupidly hot for what it is. Yeah, you can get refunds even if a seller's deleted their account. Still trying to get this bloody battery undone. Let me use the knife again, or actually I'll use a screwdriver and try and just prise this bit off. Yeah, the knife in there now. Right, finally. Okay, let's turn on the Therapy then without getting an electric shock. Yeah, the UK, though, is very strange like this hype. So if you look in the dictionary, you know, and look up a firearm, obviously if you looked up a firearm, it would have to be something that uses combustion to propel the... Told you. Right. Let me just get that alarm off. Yeah, that's the main thing that sucks with the Therapy, is just how plain the interface is. Right, let's set it to 9,000 either microsieverts or millisieverts, doesn't matter. Right, okay, there we go. So I'll put the beeper back on, but then But yeah, it's the Fiesta ware that weirdly is like the hottest thing in this room now. At least in terms of like pure counts it gives off. So if I put that there, look, let's put the Therapy in here. This is with the beta shield bit closed, by the way. So in theory, it should only be reading gamma. Oh, I'm on beta flux density, aren't I? I don't want to be on that. Let's go to dose rate. Right, there we go. So yeah, let's take the other bit off, that bit, expose the GM tube. Oh, still managed to trip the alarm. How did I do that? I thought I turned the alarm off. Come on. Maybe I changed the alarm on a different setting. Yeah, I think I put the alarm on the might have been the dose rate alarm I put on. Yeah, so what's that at the moment? 36 microsieverts equivalent. There's probably bits of this that are even hotter than that. But yeah, I'll turn the speaker off now because that'll get annoying. But yeah, the as you know, Fiesta ware, like I said, is very hot in terms of counts. I think it's actually hottest there because that means the Geiger-Müller tube's kind of got the most amount of uranium oxide surrounding it. But yeah, for the people that keep saying things like, you know, is uranium glass anywhere near as hot as Fiesta ware? The answer is no. I did show this in the video, but yeah, bear in mind that this reads above background anyway because there's a bit of contamination on the insides of the circuit or something. But yeah, this is nowhere near as yeah, Therapy is a decimeter, like a Geiger counter. Well, it is a Geiger counter, that's how the logic of it works. But yeah. So, but yeah, like I say, in Fiesta ware is the kind of crazy vintage stuff where put uranium in the paint. That's a good idea. It does make it a lovely orange, but it also makes it go when you put a Geiger on it. Right, the Bereg, the Fiesta ware will just peg the Bereg off the meter. So let's put the Bereg on. Background radiation in this room is easily in the green area for the Bereg, and I did find a calibration for it, so I did turn that down a bit more. So, you know, background is, you know, quite low on the Bereg. But yeah, so let's put the Fiesta ware over. There you go. What it's telling you is you're exposed to dangerous levels of radiation now. Yeah, that's the thing with Fiesta ware. It's very low energy gamma because it's, you know, natural uranium. But I certainly would not want to eat off of Fiesta ware just because of the idea that if you're scraping, you know, with a knife and fork at the glaze, some of it's inevitably going to come off. With CJ Campbell, granite will depend how much like actual pitch blende type stuff there is in it, like in terms of radium and uranium and that. That's cool. Do you like it? The M61V2, I reckon, is one of the best like M9 clones. But yeah, Fiesta ware is really interesting stuff. But yeah, I would never have wanted to eat off of this thing. What's crazy is there's a video on YouTube where a guy gets like quite a big Fiesta ware plate and just puts the probe of a CDV flat on it, and it goes to the 100 times range on the CDV. The beta window's open, but still, you know, it's the idea that, you know, an actual Geiger counter that could go up to 50 millirontgen per hour, you know, is on its last range from just having its probe set on a bit of Fiesta ware. But part of that is, what was I going to say? But as I said, part of it is actually it gives off a lot of counts, but they're not particularly high energy counts. Thing is, I think women should have the choice to do that, Gretchen, whether or not it's kind of, you know, the fact that people get into debt or whatever, or need to pay bills where they do that it's a good idea, you know. But yeah, that's why they did it, just because it was like what you putting, you know, uranium in this stuff. Oh, if I tell you what, I've got this light here now, haven't I? So hang on. Yeah, that's why they did that. Look, because it does that and it fluoresces under certain light. I don't think Fiestaware though really reacts to UV light. You can see where there's dust on it actually with that, but you can't see. Yes, you can see all the dust in there. Look, with the UV light, but no, it doesn't really react the same way. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I don't mind handling Fiestaware Ghost Jesus. It's 150 CPM on the times 100 scale, so that would be 15,000 counts per minute. Yeah, because it would be 1,500 on times 10. Yeah, 15,000 counts per minute. I wonder what the counts per minute of this is, actually. Let me go get the one that gives a CPM. I'll be back. So I'm actually really interested in this. Right, we'll just get this one. And I'll put it. This is actually the best clicker out of all the old counters. Digital counters I've got. I'll put on fast estimate timer, so it doesn't take ages to, you know, get a really accurate reading. So we'll put that on 5 seconds. I'll turn the backlight off as well. Hang on, so you can see it on the camera. Display mode, backlight timer, backlight off. There we go. Right, so that's that there. So that's that low 5,000 counts per minute. I don't know if there's a hotter spot on it, but because sometimes of these you'll find some of the glaze is hotter than other bits of the glaze. But yeah, Fiestaware is fascinating stuff. But yeah, I can totally understand why you know, let's not do that anymore. Let me have a look. Radiac meter, personal locket decimeter. If it lets me search a comment in a second, because chat's lagging a bit again now. You'll be fine, Keaton, just, you know, don't keep doing it. But yeah, I mean, bear in mind, some people had radium alarm clocks and stuff right next to their bed for years and years and were absolutely fine, you know. Also, lots of people kept things like thorium lamp mantles in drawers. You know, there's a lot of stuff where we now know it's not a good idea, but I don't think a little bit of exposure is going to have hurt you. I think worrying about exposure will actually hurt you more than, you know, very limited exposure. So let me, anyway, search that one you said about, if the chat doesn't keep lagging. Yeah, it was a really weird stream the other day. You need a Land Rover style Fisher Thermal, whatever they're called, decimeter reader for those. You won't be able to read them without expensive stuff, is the answer. Right, I'll put this back. I'm just waiting now for the window to unfreeze because YouTube's frozen again a bit on the picture. Yeah, I was trying to get one at one point fighting Welsh, but I either get outbid on them on eBay, where people want to go well over like 100 odd quid on them, or on what was it? There was one then on Surplus and Lost, or Surplus and Outdoors, one of those. But then when I bought it, they actually had to refund me and say sorry, they couldn't find it in the stockroom. I will download the Track and Trace app and have a vaccine. I know there'll be people on here saying I'm a sheep or an idiot for doing that. But the way I look at it, the government monitors you anyway. I know there were some people saying you're actually giving consent with an app like that. But yeah, the way I look at it is the government's going to be monitoring you anyway. You're a bit naive if you think they don't. And of course, as long as the vaccine is proven to be safe, then yes. But I think at the time of vaccines around, most of us will probably have already caught it and recovered. Ah, yeah, Fighting Welsh. Yep. I had to look it up to see what it was, and it's like, oh, it's the black disc thing. I think there's a couple of other readers that read it, but yeah, you can't get the readers cheaply. They're not like the pen dosimeters where you can just buy a little charger. Yeah, I did 7SE, thank you, because what I did today was I had a social distance walk with one of my friends I'd not seen in months, even though he only lives a mile down the road from me. It was where we went out for like a 1.5 mile walk, even though we got absolutely, wet and horrible because it started raining really heavily when we were out on a walk and we didn't bother taking like raincoats out. It was really nice, actually. We just had to keep a certain distance away from each other, Which thing, Chris from HR? The Fiesta Ware I got from the US. Everything else is UK sellers, I think, except for some individual like Geigers and CDVs I bought. But the person actually got that to me in like a week and a half, that Fiesta Ware bowl. It was really good. And it was just, in a little package full of styrofoam. So yeah, it probably is moustache under the outdoors. Right, I don't know if the comments are not up to date again now, because it does look to me on here like the comments aren't loading properly again. Yeah, YouTube's been really weird for me lately as well, truth, love, and honour. Sorry, what was the thing you asked about the hoodie? I probably missed that, if you can repeat it. But yeah, I've been having quite a lot of issues with YouTube streaming recently, just where it will either keep cutting out during the stream, or like the chat starts lagging behind, even though it doesn't seem to be. So like where I'm streaming at the moment, if I look at the like live camera, that's updating as usual. Actually, saying that, it's been stuck on 52 minutes 30 for a little bit now. So maybe that's still like now it's 52:31. Yeah, now the live timer has just jumped by about a minute and a half. But yeah, that seems to be the problem. It seems now the longer you're live streaming, the more and more they start breaking. Right, the comments seem to be loading a bit, but I don't know who Fighting Welsh is replying to when he said he'd have killed them for doing that. Are you sure it's actually an old radium painted one? Let me search West Clock's clock, because if you can have glow in the dark things that aren't radium painted. Did they do radium ones? If they did radium ones, then it could also be the glass is blocking a lot of it. But it depends. Yeah, I mean, I know it's because a lot of people are using the internet, aren't they, Infinity? But what I don't get now is kind of why everybody's going back to work. The internet seems to be getting worse. It says 64 likes for me fighting Welsh, but again, likes don't seem to synchronize across people's streams properly everywhere. All right, truth, love, and honest. So it's just YouTube in general, is it? Just causing lots of issues combined with, I guess, people's internet connections aren't brilliant at the moment. All right, how Teespring works, truth, love, and honor, as far as I'm aware, is different products are made in different places. The hoodies, I think it's either the hoodies or the t-shirts, and it's the t-shirts. Some of those are definitely printed in the UK if they're not printed elsewhere as well. Because one of the t-shirts I bought, I got it within like a few days of buying it, which, because they have to print it to order essentially and then ship it to you, it must have come from the UK. But sometimes, different things are made in different places. I think the mugs are made in China. Mugs are good and everything. They're not bad quality mugs, but I'm pretty sure they are made in China and they ship from China. I think different things can be printed sort of in different places. The hoodie didn't take too long to come, so I assume that they maybe print some of those in the US and the UK. But that's a good point, Ghost Jesus. Yeah, if the clock has leaded glass. Andy, I would recommend for under £100, and you want something better than the MP5. Let me have a good think for you. Can you still get that Polish Furnez mask or whatever it's called for like 30 to 50 quid? Yeah, you might also find as well with that alarm clock, even if it is radium painted, that certain bits of it are hotter than others, and it might even be a weird thing like the metal on the back is thinner than the glass at the front, so more radiation comes out the back. So yeah, Andy, the Polish Furnez, or I don't think it's necessarily always made by Poland, but let's see if like Furnez gas mask. Let's see if I can find it for you. Yeah, here we go. And it's a UK seller here. I don't know if you're in the UK or not. You said you must be because you said under 100. Right, when the stream loads back in again, because I've gone off of it and gone back on, so it's frozen for a moment, I'll put a link in for you. I still wear half face masks, Sea-Dog, yeah. There you go. Assuming the link works when I paste it, and assuming the chat's not lagged so far behind, I'm completely on different questions now. Right, I think the chat's completely frozen for me now, and I can't F5 this because if I do that, the stream will break. I could do the pop-out chat, but I think the pop-out chat is broken as well. Well, yeah, it's not even loaded my picture up where I've pasted that there for me. Now it has, but yeah. That's good price, White Wolf. But again, if it's a Fushida A4 or whatever it is, it's not as good as the F2, the original Skeed Mask 90 or whatever it's called. The essentially just the M90 gas mask. But I'll probably end the stream here just because, like I said, it's lagging at the moment. And I know when I even click end stream, it's going to take a while before it ends because, of like how weirdly the internet is lagging at the moment. So yeah, I will say goodbye to everybody. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Thank you to anybody that donated and all that. It's been quite an interesting one today. That's an interesting theory, Class 2 instructor. It's certainly not very tinfoil compared to some things I've heard, because I think a lot of people have suggested that, a lot of governments wanted the herd immunity approach because it would cost the country the least in the long run, but, didn't want to actually sound callous and say that. So, Right, anyway, I'll end the stream here. Thanks, everybody. And yeah, I'll